Hey. Why did it mute?
I just want to know.
I wonder if we should read it right before it.
Like,
Like, people, I don't want people to be picked up. But I think it's just like random.
what's wrong?
You know what sets me off?
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Let's start the meeting. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Act, Meeting Act, NJSA 10436 PL 1975 C 231 S 1 amended for 2006 C 70 S 3. As the Department of Education provided adequate notice of this meeting by sending a notice of the time and the date, location, and extended tone of the agenda of this meeting to Asbury Park Press, New Coast, January 24, 2025, by you. Copies of the notice have been placed in the administration building, bulletin board, district offices, Asbury Park Municipal Building, Asbury Park Police Department, and filed with the city clerk on January 24th. The Asbury Park District will provide all students with a comprehensive, progressive education for everyone possessing the skills and character to succeed in a diverse development global society. Roll call. Here. Okay, Black Boots. Flag. United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, tonight, we're gonna have a preliminary discussion on the budget. And when I say preliminary, it's very preliminary. This is an ongoing process, to try to close the budget for this district. We're still in talks with many different people. We're having discussions on many different areas that will affect all the impact of this budget. So a lot of things are just so much up in the air. But we're going through, and we're trying to meet with our state legislators, the Department of Education, coalescing among ourselves to extendly try to close this budget, which is very difficult. So that's going on.
Thank you very much. Like you said, it's just very preliminary numbers. We've got some needs as to what the budget is. It consists of planned expenses and our expected revenues. A budget is organizational plan stated in monetary terms, and the school budget is a financial expression of the district's educational needs and priorities. Again, it's a living document, it changes. The budget is comprised of three funds. The operating budget, which is a fund to operate the school district from nuts and bolts, books, you name it. We need $52 million. Our grants and entitlements, that's the second portion of where we get our funds, but that's strictly allotted for our preschool program, our Title I, SIA, we pretty much cannot touch that. Our repayment of debt, thank God we don't have any. As of right now, we have a shortfall in the budget of $7.5 million. Our budget goal is to ensure adequate staffing to maintain appropriate class size. Since we are still considered a former active district, we cannot increase our classroom sizes from what they are right now. So we're maintaining our classroom sizes the way they are, so we're not making them any larger than what they are. We're still complying with state mandates. We're still doing our best with the facilities and the possibility of selling properties that we have and still surpassing that. This is just a state aid that we have gotten in the last 11 years, from 2015 to what it is now. We started getting $55 million in 2015 to this year anticipated of $17 million that the state is giving us. Adequacy tax levy compared to our actual local levy, the state is saying that we should be at $35 million, where our actual taxes is only going to be $27 million. Tentative budget adjustments that we might make, we are considering increased revenue based on our export aid that we have received in the past. That's our extra services that we give to our students. That's over $44,000 for any services that they get. Resignations and retirements. There's a strong possibility that we are not going to replace them. Hiring only is IEP driven. That's a statement that we cannot give services for a special ed population. We're minimizing our out-of-district tuition and transportation. You heard Mr. Trevino say it. We're keeping our kids in with the new ERI program. We have new students start this week. We've had no complaints. It does it very well. So that's one of many. And we don't like the last bullet, but that's a possibility as well. We're going to prioritize the historical and cost for security services. That's it.
Any board members have any comments or questions?
Yes, I'd like to know who is involved in the budget process, because I know Mr. LaRock is on the finance committee and he was not involved at all. Who is involved in?
This right here is, this item is, it's a finance committee, but pretty much I took our school year as it is right now and just rolled it over into next year. There's no cuts whatsoever in that budget. the state aid money, everything that you're anticipating to get, that's what it is. I can't even consider more. So those expenses that you see right there, as it roll over into next year. No cuts, no nothing.
So you're handing this to the county superintendent on balance, and the VA to go over, and you're going to have them make the cuts and tell the district what they believe should be done, instead of us being proactive and making cuts. Is that what I understand?
I would hope not. I would hope that you guys give us direction, not the county.
No, right now, yes, we're turning over an unbalanced budget, but we have been aggressively. Mr. LaRocca has been on the finance committee, talking about the things that we're looking at, making changes, selling buildings. The discussion has been told to this board on issues that were presented in this presentation. We right now have to do the full research to make these cuts and be an effective board to make sure, not like the federal government is using a hatchet to do things, to do a scalpel. If you read the presentation, a lot of this funding is actually being pushed by IAPs, state regulations, and mandates. So the biggest cost to services in the district are in line with our children. So we can't just arbitrarily say, I don't want a special ed teacher, and we can get rid of one when we necessitate that person give a thorough benefits education. So when we have these questions come out, let's be justifiable in our thought process into saying that we have to look at this budget continually. We're going to have to make some cuts, but they're going to have to be based on the information that's going to be provided from the superintendent and the administration as to what we can by state law cut, what we cannot by state law cut. And also, I want everybody in this building to know, I'm saying it, whether this board agrees with it or not. We have multi-million-dollar projects that are being developed in this district that are not paying their fair share. When you have a project that has $10 billion condos that will come on our tax roll and not effectively provide for this district the revenue that we need to make sure we establish our kids, I have a problem. I have a problem if anybody goes to the friendly budget for 2004 and look at the pilots on the city's municipal budget. There's a building that is paying 1/3 of the assessed taxes that if it did not have a pilot would be paying. That's in the millions of dollars. And B, I will be at the budget hearings. Senator Cabal has a bill, S-3917. Everybody in this room should be at these budget hearings advocating for this district in a way that protects their property taxes, but also the education of these children. I will be there. I have been there. I've been there with charter schools. I will continue to be there to advocate for additional aid to this district that has been shortchanged. We are also discussing with the city. They know what their burden is. So we're not giving or turning over anything, but right now we haven't totally made a 100% account of actually how we're going to fill a $7 or $8 million budget deficit. Now, if you want to throw it out there for all of us, go ahead. Tell me what we're going to do and what just needs to be done where everybody and certain things in this community are not being affected.
Mr. Roberts, have you reviewed the advisory opinion I sent you in regard to conflicts and who being involved in the finance committee and the finance of the?
Yes, I did, and I think that's something that I don't want to bring up here right now, but I don't think that contradicts with each and every one of us in the thought process that each one of us can have to vote on this budget coming back. And what do you?
My concern, Mr. Rogers, is we have 6 numbers on this agenda. It came out at 4:18 this afternoon. The public didn't even get a chance to look at these 6 numbers. So they haven't had any numbers. The board hasn't had any numbers. I have no information about what those 6 numbers mean. All I did was go back to user-friendly budget last year. And I have some questions about it, but I have no knowledge about what cuts were made, any adjustments to this budget at all. I don't know if there's any staff anticipating.
There are no cuts.
I really mean there's staff.
No cuts whatsoever in this budget. I took this year's budget and just rolled it over with the same everything, same staff, same supplies. The only thing that went up was health benefits, electricity.
Well, I know what all the utilities and everything, I know there's a substantial increase in cost.
It's a lot.
What I'm saying is as
This was
Mr. Brown, it's not all your responsibility. Yes, you're in charge of the budget, but recommendations come from the administration. And I hope that the finance committee was involved in some of the meetings to determine ideas about what to cut and what we can do and have some information that can be presented to this board. But we have no information. If this district is just turning over a budget from last year, just like here, we can't do anything to the county superintendent, they're going to turn around and they're going to tell us what to cut. I don't understand that. That's what I don't understand.
right now,
So there's no
there's
staff, there's no anticipation of cuts in staff or anything. Nothing at all.
this is just there.
You should not be answering that question, Mr. Rogers.
No. I am going to answer part of that question because there are other districts in this state that you read it every day, and their budgets are coming up. And some of them are doing the same thing that we're doing. Right now, there's investigation, there's process, but in all, we have, in the questions that you're presenting, we also have something that other districts don't have, and that's the state monitor. And he's still reviewing the information that's being put in front of him to analyze what is best suited to make cuts in this district. So it's not, it's board, this administration, we have the county is going to do it, the state monitor is going to do it, and the DOE. But also, we did not invested going after state money that I believe this district should be getting to cover this shortfall.
I just want to have a clarification question. What is our budget due to the county? March 18th, so since January 2nd, when we first requested a special meeting on the budget, no identification of a single cut that could be made for last year's budget until that.
That's not true. We talked about, it's not cuts, we talked about selling buildings and properties.
I understand that.
These are things that are not in that budget to offset those costs there. Nothing's in there. This is a rollover budget from last year. And those other anticipated, if you can sell a building tomorrow and give me $3 million, I'll do it. But I can't, I'm gonna tell the state, I'm gonna sell a building, and I haven't sold it. So there's time and preparation for all these things that we're doing. And each of these people are doing it each and every day.
I'm not criticizing anyone.
And it does sound like that.
Well, I'm criticizing the fact that the board hasn't even voted no when we asked for a special budget meeting earlier this year.
On information that we still did not get till we just got these numbers after the governor's address. And we just got the preschool numbers 3 days ago. We're still putting in numbers on things, and we have talked about the actual cost and the budget cuts. We talked about these kids. Do you know the IEPs of any of these kids? Do you know what's legally driven to make these cuts?
I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate your fervor and your dedication to the kids. Have you ever seen a single team dedication to the kids? So I appreciate that. My question is, one, this is point. We saw these numbers, we, myself, and everybody
involved in the preparation, that will be that. So we're asking questions about how it is we're going to digest this, understand it, and move forward. So Ms. Brown actually said the last year's budget we rolled over to this, right? So we haven't identified any cuts yet. Is that correct? Okay, so we haven't identified any cuts. So that was one thing. Exactly. We wanted to start talking about cuts. The state monitor pointed out that in December and anticipated $12.5 million deficit, right? So in January we asked, we had to sit down and look at the numbers that are driving that $12.5 million. And we're going out. So my question is, now here we are, 6 days before we get to and we honestly haven't had any real conversations as a full board about where we might cut, and then also where we might identify things like that we want to anticipate that in the sale bill. I talked with Mr. Fisher last meeting. He said we can't factor that on. I didn't say, look, yet we got $7.5 deficit. But if we're anticipating income because we're going to sell property, we can do that. So that's part of the question, right? These conversations are happening, they don't know they're happening as a full board. And so that's our concern, that's why we have these questions, because we're not going to all be
And I agree. Right now, the finance committee is also having discussions, but also let the state monitor answer some of these.
I was just going to say, can we hear from the state monitor about, can we even turn in an unbalanced budget to the county?
Thank you. So, back in December, I believe I gave a list of items that the board can consider to reduce the money. The board member, I was not the last meeting, I was away, I understand, first of all, the board, and I was still here, voted against having a study to see how much would be saved for privatizing the schools. You want me to do it? I don't know. And it came up with another last meeting about privatizing security. And we also talked about selling buildings. I heard about you go forward with the maintenance building. And it's not nearly enough to satisfy the deficit. What the board could do tonight is submit a balanced budget, is authorize the sale of either the Brock and Mama School, actually the third Marshall School, and we can send in a balanced budget. I don't want to discuss that tonight, discuss it in the session, and see if you want to do that. One of my recommendations is having 18 staff positions, teaching positions. Vigorous pushback from our superintendent and principals that the district did that would decimate the high school and middle school, and not be able to offer courses that are needed for the students. So, in my mind, we ought to make a balanced budget right now. So the buildings are worth different values. I'm not going to publicly state what the values are. But if you sold third and Marshall, we can balance it. If you sold Obama, and I'm not sure about the deficit with the plus or minus stuff. If you sold Obama school, that also may solve the problem. But I don't see any outcry from the Board of Education to sell these buildings. And if there's a decision tonight that you'd like to do that, then you can submit a balanced budget to the county. Now, I spoke to the county already, and if you submit a budget that's not balanced, they're going to just reject it.
The problem is that even selling the building,
I'm still talking. So that could balance the budget. That only solves it for this year. So we'll have a problem next year. But the state is interested in getting balanced budgets this year. And that is my opinion, not the state's opinion. It's for the election year. And that's why we're pushing that. We're pushing it. But then again, that's been said numerous times in my career that it's an election year. Things will solve it. If you solve it after the election, whatever happens. So that's where we are. So the county, I told the county, we'll be reviewing the budget again with the business administrator, and that we'll discuss with the board, and the board will, I hope the board will come up with a solution on what they want to do to solve this deficit. If you don't come up with a solution, Margaret is right. The county will impose a budget whenever they want, and the board simply, and the board may not like it. So that's where we stand tonight.
Can I just ask a follow-up? if we submit an unbalanced budget to the county and said that they will deny it, what happens from there?
What happens from there is we'll lose points in QSAC. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, like, logistically, the county denies it, and then what, does it come back to us? Is there a secondary date for us to revise it?
It comes back. I did in district for when it wasn't approved until next meeting in June. Because the deficit is so severe. And I suggest that to put in the sale of the building, balance the budget, submit a balanced budget to the county. In the meantime, between now and the public hearing, you can make adjustments to the budget and present at the public hearing as long as the budget is balanced. The county really doesn't care whether they sell a building, whether they privatize custodians, or privatize security. They just want to see a balanced budget that's fair and efficient.
If that's the case, first of all, do we have to do a closed session, or will we discuss it in public?
The only thing we discuss in closed session is values of the building. You don't want to put that out in public. And also, we're going to privatize the scope, we're going to talk about privatizing the scope of security, from a contract, we have contract negotiations, and things like that.
These are things that this board are going to have to sit in the room, take a full analysis of what it is this year, what are you going to do next year, what's going to go on with the staff, all these factors and budgets, and there are budget dates. But as Mr. Chapman said, some of these budgets extend into June because of the situation, because of also legislative actions, other things that are going on. And it takes everyone to be involved in this process. And it takes awareness that we can get these numbers as set forth. We talked about most of these issues that we've already presented. We voted down as a board one of the items. We talked about not selling in meetings certain buildings. So yes, we're going to have to come in and sit down and make a decision, and it's going to have to be made very soon. But we're just getting the information. We were told we have 12 million, now we're down to 7 or 8 million. We don't know what the state legislature is going to bring. We don't know if we can fight to get extra money in. But this is a fluid budget that is going to go on for the next 3 months. And every ounce of our being, I put it into everything. Like I said, I'm going to budget hearings to the state. They gave 68 million to Lakewood. They gave 12 million to East Orange. When they said that they had issues, we have an issue that is a wealth inequality in Asbury Park that affected our taxpayers and our children. And I think everyone should come out and voice that opinion.
Mr. Rocha, I was going to say, why don't we move this along? Go to closed session, discuss the values, come back out, so we can present as Mr. Shattuck said, balanced budget, depending on what we decide.
You know, I just want to say, today is not the day that we should have been doing this. This is the first time I've sat on this board in the 16 years I've been here, that there hasn't been a tentative budget created to be presented to the county. And it's not from lack of trying. So we're sitting here now and trying to decide what buildings to sell when we already voted how many months, years ago, to sell 2. Who's one? We don't get anything done. So now we're sitting here in front of the public with a budget we know nothing about, and the inaction, and how we're going to act. This is how it's going to happen.
This
It's embarrassing.
has
No, it's just embarrassing.
been going on for years. this is stuff, that this,
Stop blaming other people.
no, stop
I'm
blaming
tired,
them,
I'm tired.
the
I'm not
actual
done.
facts are done. The
Mr.
facts have been
Rogers, I
presented.
let you speak.
No, facts have been
I did
presented.
not
That
interrupt.
this did not happen overnight.
Point of order. I was talking, I did not interrupt you.
Listen,
Can't sit here and keep blaming other people for our situation. Yes, there is a physical situation. But we have it as a board, as 5 people have to agree to move forward on certain things. Yes, we finally got the custodial estimate done. Yeah, we should do the security also. But nobody wants to make that decision. I'm the only one who voted for custodial, but you should know how much it's going to cost. You should, we're in trouble. We should have cuts to our staff. We have to cut something. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It would have hurt last year when 59 people would have lost their job because we didn't have the COVID funds. We can't shoulder another huge tax increase. Our taxes have increased at least 36% in the last 6 years. And maybe it's less years. And today you have a 2% tax increase on the budget. I looked at it. I just can't, this is embarrassing.
So last month, I gave a presentation. I was rushed to do a presentation. I did a presentation, and I gave several options. One of the options was both. One option was to sell either Barack Obama or Thurgood Marshall. Okay, so we don't have the praise value of the Thurgood Marshall yet. That's what we discussed. But at the end of my presentation, I asked them, what are they going to do? Because if we don't do it, the state's going to come in and tell us what to do. And what I got basically was, well, we'll just sue the state. That's not a step moving forward. That's a step that keeps us stagnant. Yeah, we can sue the state, absolutely, but we need to take a step. We have 2 buildings. One building we sell will make us financially stable, at least for another year and a half. Another building may not get us through this year. So those are the options that are on the table, and the state is going to come and tell us what we're going to sell.
I have a point of order that we should be involved in executive session conversations in the public.
Can I ask a practical question? What's the goal for tonight?
The goal tonight, we're going to go into executive after the public participation. And we're going to have to make a decision on some of those. We're going to have to decide how we're going to take analysis of the budget. And the accusation that someone blames someone, no, this is a situation where we just had a hearing. A lot of this stuff should have been done years ago, but also we are down, and the administration has said they can't cut any more staff for some of the teachers. They can't for the IEP, some of the situations that we're in. We're going to have to look out, and like I said, there's multiple options that we need to keep on this table that we need to continually go after and look at it, because long term, if we get rid of this building or one building, that's a one-shot deal. Next year you can come back with 12 things.
I understand, and we all appreciate that we're facing a very serious situation. My question was, so is the intent that we're going to go into executive session now, based on a chart of 9.8 numbers, and discuss valuations on buildings that we haven't seen, and make determinations tonight on how to cut $7.5 million in the budget, and we haven't seen a single piece of backup? Is that the intention?
We did send out proposals on most of the buildings the last one, because we haven't approved that process to put that building on.
That was my question. The question is, what are we supposed to do tonight? Limited amount of information.
Basically transfer record. There's really no initials within this.
I didn't hear the first one. Yeah, Mr. Chapter,
This is a transfer budget, basically, there's no new provisions, no new programs. It's very sad that the district can't afford to do that. The budget itself, I briefly got away, I looked at it briefly today, yesterday, and it's basically every line is increase and decrease, 0, 0, 0. There's some shifting, line, maybe line plus, or line bottom, negative. It's not a new budget, and I do believe we should get more detail, and we will get more detail in the next couple of weeks. But the goal tonight is to submit something that is in balance. We received appraisals for 4 buildings. The last appraisal I received, I think it came in 2 days ago, on the 3rd of March.
It was 40 hours ago we could have seen something. You said the drop in was on tonight at 7 p.m. Am I understanding, Mr. Chapter, that you received a line by line budget? Did you receive the line items in the budget and how you numbers are calculated?
I looked at the budget that had line items in it. I was not able to verify anything. There's no reason to say wrong there. I spoke to the county the other day, explaining that they're not a balanced budget. They're not expecting a balanced budget until you give them one. And that they will have a balanced budget within the next few weeks.
But why do we keep repeating that information? We didn't have that information.
Tracy, he did.
No, he did not.
He just said that he had it.
He just said he just got it the last day, and he's trying to reconcile it, but these numbers were put in the last couple of days.
Understood. All due respect to the state monitor, Ms. Carson, if information is available, it should be provided to the entire board as soon as it's available. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because tonight you want to try to balance the budget, and I only got overall sums. And I'm not trying to be a bill. I just couldn't possibly make a decision about this budget that's been presented like this without information and the specific information. And that's my concern in that case.
Next question. We vote down this budget today. What are the next steps?
Administration will go back and give you probably the same budget again. With some adjustment, it's going to get down the same. And we're going to make a decision on how you want to increase revenue. Whether you want to sell real estate, whether you want to privatize, custodian, security, whether you want to extend students out of the district to another school district. Those are things you have to decide.
Can I ask a question too? If we move forward with selling one of the buildings mentioned and use that as a way to balance the budget, what happens, because we don't have that money in hand, what happens if the building does not sell or it sells less than what we are anticipating and we are still short, then they can't make it through next school year? Like, I'm just concerned trying to balance a budget on money that does not currently exist.
So what would happen is putting that anticipated sale of the building in your revenue stream. You will immediately start the process and sell that building and to make it a good faith effort. And if for some reason that you feel that the building is not going to sell, we're now towards a point where you're going to end up with your short money, that's where you have to talk to the state again and see what they'll do. As long as you're making a good faith effort to do it, I think, and I can't speak for this administration, or that other administrations, that we would receive some kind of similar funding that has happened in the past. But I'm not saying that can happen in the future.
Because we also have to recognize the very real reality that there will be a new governor starting in January, and we don't know if it's going to be a governor that's supportive of public education. Okay, so what happens then? If we balance the budget on the sale of the building, and it somehow still leads to a shortfall, and the state says, don't care.
Well, what happens if you don't do anything? You're going to be in the same situation. You don't authorize the sale. If you don't authorize the sale of a building, you're going to run out of money probably next March or April.
Were the sales of both Brooklyn Commission and the maintenance building incorporated in this tentative budget because the board did vote to move forward with both of those buildings?
No.
It was not. Why
Because
not?
number one, we don't know whether the sale of the maintenance building, how much will be available because there's the environmental cleanup, there's the cost of the move, there's the cost of putting up a pole barn on the Lama School, and also it still wouldn't solve the deficit.
So it would take one of the big properties, Rock Lama or that it would take proceed with the sale of one of the big properties, for lack of a better word, or Lama or Third. So if that's the case, and we can't talk about the values in public, right? We can go privately to the back, discuss it, and then come out with a decision. Everything else sounds like we're just complaining, so let's take action. Let's go with that. Do what we're supposed to do. I'm not saying it's a bad way. I'm not saying complain in a bad way. I'm just saying like, we need to come out here.
Let's be clear, the maintenance building, we voted, the board voted to sell that 3-4 months ago. And not especially 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Okay, so then why, nothing has happened, we've not tried to surface, we've not married, valuation. But still, it's a long process, right? So as far as we are today, how much further do we need to go on market? Everything's changed. And then if you try to sell Obama, you already got in contract with the tenants association that they're entitled to part of the land? No. Okay, what about the tennis courts who already started building?
There's no, the agreement with the Asbury Park Tennis Initiative did not give them any property rights to, any ownership rights to the land. It gave them a license for essentially as long as we own the land. And my understanding is that the Asbury Park Tennis Initiative is aware that that property may be sold. With regard to next steps as it relates to the buildings that the board authorized, the next step would be for the board to set a reserve price if we'd like to, and then we essentially write the specifications for the bid. I can have that done within a month. That's it. There's nothing else from my end that needs to happen.
So it is a concern, again, I just want to follow up with Mr. Weiss. My concern is that we make these decisions and it's the role of the president and vice president to make sure these decisions are followed through the administration. So the board makes decisions and nothing gets done. And that's what my concern is. And we need to get things done.
The only thing I can say, Mrs. Lisinski, is with regard to the board's decision to sell the maintenance building and the parent center. I've undertaken all action items that the board has instructed me to do. It's now, the ball, so to speak, is back in the board's court. The board's going to have to set a minimum sale price, and then we have a bidding for the purchase. From my perspective, there's nothing else for the administration to do with regard to those two buildings as it relates to potential sale.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss, for the update. I'm sure you've provided that information to somebody that just hasn't gotten to us. And I appreciate that. We need to get to us sooner so that the link is broken. Because I'm sure this board will move forward because that was their wish. And we're here tonight, we're talking about the budgets and we're talking about this.
So as far as the sale of the maintenance building, if you sell the maintenance building, you have to put the in someplace else. The sale of the maintenance building and the condition will not sell at the deficit. If you sell the maintenance building and put the new building up on the Obama site, you can't sell the Obama school, and then you still have that situation where you have a deficit.
Sorry, did you say what the building, I didn't quite get it.
Well, we can sell the building, we have to get a new appraisal. If you just sold the building, I don't know how much that is worth without the land next to it. We don't have an appraisal for that. And there's also the environmental cleanup that needs to be done if we make the building, an estimate of about $80,000 to do that. And I don't know how much, I have numbers for more warrant, but we can really start pricing them and see what they will cost, putting those up.
Mr. Schaffner, I just have a question about, and I know, of course, I ask a lot of questions, and everybody in this audience knows that I've done it for years. I don't know where the whole barn came from idea, because when initially maintenance was going to move over to Obama, they had it all set up. They're, for the most part, the studios are school-based. They have big vehicles that are there, and custodians that are based in the schools. And the idea was to have an office over there in Obama, and then other trucks that have equipment that may be needed, like electrical and things like that, that aren't in the school-based facilities. So I don't know where the pole barn came from, his idea that was to do that. And I know initially, the idea a couple of years ago when we started moving on this project was to have school-based units and then an office over there with other supplies that you wouldn't have every single vehicle sitting over on the non-profit or every single facility. So I'm not quite sure. And I was going to mention this earlier, but we hadn't had this conversation. It's presented to us in a leaflet of ideas, and we don't ever get a chance to talk about it, and that's the problem. And I'm not going to say anymore because that community is not frustrated anymore.
Okay, so last month, again, I gave a presentation. Yeah, in that presentation, we discussed the pole barn and the cost of it. I gave that presentation, print that again, but we did talk about the pole barn. Subdividing Obama property, so you have a place for maintenance, and you put a pole barn up, so it was discussed.
And what would be foolish to
I'm Steve. Go ahead.
Okay, so we don't have a budget. We're looking at budget deficit, and we all realize that's not a good thing. So the first thing I would suggest, and I came up from Kristen's question, if we can tell the public what would be the steps after today. I haven't, similar to Barb, I haven't worked in this environment before where at the time of this meeting, there wasn't a budget, but I think, can we say, who will meet when, by what dates, to determine what. The second thing I want to point out is just the idea that selling a building and we're done. I mean, call me Christian, but when you have deficits like this, it's going to be a component of can some advocacy bring us some money? We're going to have to make some cuts. We may have some revenue that was presented, and which would be great. And it's a combination along with reducing the facility footprint that's going to bring about financial stability. So to the extent, I hear, well, we'll decide on the building, and everyone's saying there's not a lot of facts about all the buildings. right now, that's going to solve it. I would disagree with that. But if we have steps in place and bringing portions of everything that's been talked about, presented in the past, ideas people have thrown out, and let the public know we're not just popping off, we're going to have a definitive plan. By when, how does it get done, and tell our board members how they will be able to get educated, they will be able to make an educated decision with what information they need.
Thank you, Dominic. You're right, and that's exactly what I've been saying. The fact that we made an assumption that we sold the building that would, on the budget that we knew no figures about, that we had no information about, which we were asking for meetings that non-existently, we could make a simple situation or knowledgeable situation. We have one building now that, two other buildings that we may have to sell, but we can't sell another building because that building may not have been enough, but we need that building. So all these things, and certain people have been on this board for years to know the logistical aspect of this budget. This is a short amount of time. You wait for the governor to present his budget. We have to look at revenue sources. We have to look at what's driven, number by number. Ms. Brown, I think we finally have all the numbers in. We can, which was just completed, I believe yesterday, can get it to the board, they can look at it, but I'm going to be honest with you. There's nothing that certain people are going to look at in that budget to actually understand what logistically is made by the administration on aspects of education. We're going to look at other aspects that are outside of it. Situations like buildings, what the footprint of this district is going to look like. And everything is going to have to be taken into account. And there will be winners and losers and situations which we all are in. You know, this, I can remember a video saying in 2019 that we were selling Obama, and it still hasn't been sold. So, you know, don't make this out to be so much. This is stuff that if it was very simple, it would have been done already. But it's not. But we're getting down to that point where we will make decisions. Now, the process that what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to go in as a back, decide whether or not some of the information that we still don't have the full knowledge of, are we gonna make that decision? That sounds kind of ludicrous to me, but we're still doing it. And it's going to come back to us. We're going to have time to reevaluate. We're going to have time to make adjustments, go out and advocate for more funding, advocate for resources, advocate to see what the public can understand about what this whole process is. So, multiple, what's going to be done is, I know they're going to have a finance meeting next week. Hopefully the finance chair is here, Joe's here. That on the agenda, it's a laid out line of exactly what the options are, what the dollar value is. And I hope everyone evaluates that. You can't look at it as one-shot deal. Because next year, you come back and you don't have $12 billion. This district is done, and we didn't do the advocacy that we needed to or try to sustain ourselves. We're going to be in bad shape because you can't sell another building with the amount of kids that we have. So there's a lot that's going to have to be laid out for this finance committee. Over now, getting some final numbers, also be suggesting of Mr. Chapman to look at things and feed it back to the board. And in our next board meeting, next week after next, we should be finalizing what, from the numbers that finance committee is going to present, what we're gonna take action. And, you know, the public is going to be fully aware of what that is. And you heard most of it tonight, you know, Erica, Obama, maintenance building, Dorothy Mission, what are we going to look like next year, what are we going to look like this year. All those things are going to pay a price. We get on the public. If we have a problem, we get on the public participation, and then we move on to executive session.
Mr. Rogers, this is a question about the agenda. This use of facilities meeting is specifically noticed for the preliminary budget, not for any other business of the year. I wanted to ask the attorney reference that. I would consider this a probably violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. Mr. Weiss, I wanted to ask a question about the agenda item that was added as an addenda. The meeting was specifically advertised as a preliminary budget, not any other business, and they added an addendum this afternoon for the usage. Yeah.
Great. So this is, if you're correct, it's a special meeting, and as a special meeting, it's supposed to be advertised with the subject matter, if known at the time that's being noticed. To the extent that this additional item can wait until the 26th, I would suggest that that happen.
Motion to table C1.
But let me reference, and I take blame for anything that right now, this is a camp that was submitted to us after this special meeting was in the James. Bernie Williams wanted to provide a training camp for our kids, and also their organization wanted to promote it, and it is actually the day after our board meeting. So
So listen, that's a concern for the board, because I would imagine that your youngsters in the community are rather excited to have the opportunity to play for Bernie Williams, even though they may be missing. That being said, I guess what you could do is retroactively approve after, but I am not saying that that is something, I'm not suggesting that. I actually don't like that idea, but I'm putting it out there that someone would say you could do that. I don't like that idea. But that being said, you could also move your next meeting to make it a day or two earlier. That way it would be approved prior to the event actually happening. The president, Mr. Rogers, advised me that the event is scheduled for the day following the meeting on the 26th. So, thank you.
May I just, we can get a feel from the board whether they kind of like the idea or not, and that it wouldn't be jeopardizing anything. You could just wait till the end of the month. I don't think here's going to disagree that it's a very special event. And I don't believe that would be a problem if we do wait till the end of the month so we can follow the Open Public Meetings Act appropriately.
Regardless of what the board decides to do, just let it be known my strong desire for the board to have a certificate of insurance from the organization, whether or not you, at least prior to the start of any event that they may put on. That's my primary concern.
I remember we voted on a few years retroactively.
And the organization wanted to promote this, and we didn't want a conflict of board members saying something was promoted and it wasn't approved. So it's up to the pleasure of the board. If you want to do it now, if you want to hold it over, insurance is actually provided. But we just want to make sure that opportunity for our kids to experience something like this doesn't get lost in some negotiations or practicality.
I'm in favor, I'm a second Joe's motion in favor
Roll call.
The table, motion to table? Ms. Eckler? Yes. Ms. Martin? Yes. Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. LaRocca? Ms. Jacinski? Yes. Ms. Riggs? Yes. Mr. Roberts? Thank you.
Then open the portion of the meeting.
I'm not overriding the board on the table, but I am going to review the application next week and see exactly what's going on with it. And I may approve the application to state monitor prior to the next board meeting, so that this event can go on. Just so you know that.
I think the approval itself is the waiver of the fees the board has to do. I don't know if the state monitor waives fees on the facilities. That's the only reason it's on the agenda is to waive fees. Otherwise, they could, if they're going to pay for it, they would be able to do it. Or whether, the schedule would conflict with
As I said, I'm going to review the entire application and make a decision. I may or may not approve it. I'm going to review it close up and then determine. That's all.
So, is there any other round of the document when we put it on the agenda for the next meeting, or we just actually go around tonight? Or can we copy out from the PMA, we can do that?
Well, if it's an emergency.
Yeah, this doesn't really constitute an emergency. Emergency under the rules is something that could not have been contemplated. So I think one way or another, it sounds to me that the children are going to have an opportunity to play. To be honest with you, that's, if I would bet it mail to not, that's what I'd bet.
To the public portion. In accordance with the board 0167 Asbury Park Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and other matters of importance and provides members of the public with the opportunity to express themselves on school matters and community interests. Public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session. All public comments will be directed to the board president and the presiding officer. Members of the public who wish to make public comments must be recognized by the presiding officer, provide his or her name, municipality, residence, group affiliation, if applicable. All public comments shall be directed to the presiding officer, no less than 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public who do not follow the foregoing rules or interfere with the orderly operation of the board meeting may be removed from the meeting.
Where do you want?
When in the Roosevelt, Asbury Park resident. I attended the community meeting that was the other weekend. During the comments at that meeting, it seemed like members of the audience and, people had questions and wanted more specifics on the budget and had specific questions in regards to some line items, including charter schools and state funding, and how those items have changed over time. So we're curious about why it would be such a large deficit this year. So I find it very disappointing that some of that more detailed information wasn't provided. I would also say that it seems like some of the building is a one-time fix. So we no longer see the things. What is the plan? I mean, I think we could operate on a good year and just try to get higher this year, but then fix the can down the road. And then I agree with what the president has said in regards to pilots. I mean, I know that's not the word, but it does seem that there is a detriment of the school system as well as the taxpayers in general. There seems like there should be more coordination between the board and the city council when it comes to that. I know that was raised again at the community meeting, so is that being also addressed? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Stolberg. I live at 1514 Third Avenue in Asbury Park. I'm a documentary filmmaker and editor and part of the creative community that has been drawn to this vibrant city. I grew up attending public schools. My mother, aunt, uncle, and grandmother were all public school teachers. I deeply believe that everyone, regardless of race, religion, socioeconomic status, has a fundamental right to an excellent public education. And also schools are the heart of our community. They impact our city's reputation, have the potential to attract new residents, affect property values, influence taxes, and shape the community morale. I don't have kids, but I firmly believe that we all have a stake in making our communities, education, and schools better. We're facing significant challenges in Asbury Park, but I really think that there could be some creative solutions that could exist. But I just want to present some ideas. I know that we're not going to talk about that tonight, but I just want to throw some things out there. One, with Netflix arriving near our community within the next 5 years, thousands of film and television jobs will follow. As a film professional, I see a unique opportunity. We could create a filmmaking program that prepares students directly for these jobs, boosting enrollment through grant-funded initiatives. That's one idea. Another idea is Monmouth County hosts magnet programs for communication, STEM, marine biology, but there is no dedicated performing arts magnet at high school. With Asbury Park's rich musical and artistic legacy, converting our high school to a magnet school into a performing arts magnet school could reverse the enrollment decline and honor our city's identity. Third idea, we have to explore local funding solutions. Could municipal entertainment or marijuana sales tax help support our schools? Could pilot agreements specifically prioritize school funding? We absolutely do need affordable housing evenly distributed around town, but I think it's entirely reasonable for us to demand that moving forward, pilot agreements need to have a carve-out specifically for school funding. Additionally, we can also organize within our community and explore building alliances with other districts that are facing similar inequities to collectively advocate for a fairer formula at the New Jersey state level. Let's come together as a community, put away litigation and division, and through collaboration and creativity, ensure that our schools and city thrive. Thank you.
Hello, Alicia Simmons, Sulab Asbury Park, President of WCC Historic Innovation Association, formerly known as SUSI. Came in as a development, but what I see is something that kind of pushed me at the end before the state monument. As a former board member, I remember having a conversation with the senator at the time, and mandating our budget be so pushed, and we have such mandated positions like yours. And she said, because we receive so much money, we can't turn the state down when they mandate positions like yours. And I'm saying we're not in the same space now. And your salary literally comes out of our taxes and our funding. And we've had a state monitor over a decade receiving. And when I started back in the day, it was $500 a day. I think it's increased some. I was not sure, so I won't quote my own record. But that is a funding that we can put towards something else. And I'm saying that to say, under your position, under the statute in which your position is created, you're supposed to be fiscal, and there's one or two little words in there saying other things when you talk about fiscal, from a fiscal monitoring. And also after you correct someone, you have to go overreach and you have to determine if you're supposed to conference and speak to the board, so they don't make that same mistake. It's supposed to be pointed out and addressed differently. And I haven't seen that happen in decades. So I'm saying, let's talk about positions that don't necessarily be here and continue to conversate about how we can move forward in the district. And that's very much.
Sherry, I just want to let everybody know, I think it's a little disappointing. We had a meeting several weeks ago, and a whole list of questions. Some of them about where we are, usually church schools, and budget. And one of the things we were told was that we would get some answers to those questions. Obviously, we're on the agenda for today, and we're not really going to when we get the answers to those questions. So I think it's important that we can get everybody informed and when we're looking for those answers to the questions. Thank you.
So, as a reminder, full disclosure, I am a spouse of similar to what two of my fellow residents just said, I attended the board meeting on March 1st. Attended this meeting so far tonight. And there hasn't been one example of how the state monitor said this is a transfer budget, and he said it's shameful that the district could not get more programs. What I think is more shameful is that the district and this board is keeping the budget from last year, rolling it over without giving the public and the community and the record of all of you to stand there and sit there. One example of none. Other than a lot of talk about it, we're going to talk. And we're going to get there. And we're waiting for the governor's budget. The governor gave his budget address by it's over 30 days now. According to the discussion tonight, you have to submit this budget in 5 days. When are you going to actually do the cuts? President Tracy, I commend you for advocating that on the state. But I encourage you to take some of that time and go through the budget and find some cuts. Are we in a position that this board is telling the public that every dollar in this budget is spent directly on children's education and there's not $1 of waste? Because if that's what it is, then that's fine. I think everybody sitting here will feel more comfortable when the taxes go up. But I find it hard to believe that out of $58 million, now $73 million, there's not $1 of waste. And that's what you should be doing. You should be looking at every single dollar. Because our children deserve it, the community deserves it, and that's what we're elected to do. I think it's a special budget meeting, and we don't even have a full board. It's just not a good show.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Close the public portion and go into executive session. I need a motion.
Yes.
The board is going to go to close executive session for approximately 1 hour. During that time, the board will be discussing contracts, personnel, and we receiving attorney-client advice. The board will not take any formal action while it's in executive session. If the board is going to take any formal action, it will be taken out here in the public once executive session is concluded. Thank you.
She's coming.
I turned it on. Oh, girlfriend.
Yeah, we did a roll call.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
If I may, Ms. Rollins, just so the public knows, we did go in, we had a roll call, and we agreed on a few items, reduce the amount that is negative office budget, instead of almost making it flat. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to set the tentative budget to be submitted to the council. It's item C1.
I'll second.
Roll call. Question. So, could we include some kind of statement or announcement in our submission of an unbalanced budget that would reference certain potential ways that the budget will be balanced?
Yes.
Yes, we will submit that.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Barrow? Ms. Simmons? Yes. Ms. Riggs? Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Aye.
And it is 8 o'clock, just so everyone knows.
Hold on, let's stay this way together. I'll watch it later. What grade are y'all in? What grade are y'all in? What sophomore college? Second one?
Finish high school.
Finish high school?
Yeah.
Oh, no, because I know people, I don't know if they wanted, the Innocent Project wanted some interns. So, for the Innocent Project in town. So,
What is it?
but you might have aged out. Let me check. So, you know this lady?
Yeah, Karen, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we're both 19.
Where's the end stream button? I might reach out to those ladies to see if I can check the where you are in school.